let's talk with Josh in California, because this is something that I've seen go around Twitter quite a bit recently, and I'm wondering, because I'm seeing a couple different people talking about this really in the notes. Josh, you're calling in to ask about how using the Old Testament from a Christian lens might be viewed as anti-Semitic. Is that what we're going on today?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call, guys. Yeah, that's the crux of it. I was, it sounds like you may have seen some discourse that might have been me or somebody else online. I don't know, but I was kind of the target. I don't want to play victim, but I was definitely the target of this perspective from a lot of Jewish folks that are online on Twitter, and how it arose is I was in a debate with that was mistake number one. It's Twitter. But what happened is I was there was a Christian who I'm a former Christian, so I kind of come at it. That's my experience. You know, I have New and Old Testament. That's that's the lens that I read the Bible or the scripture through, and especially the Old Testament. And I know that the Hebrew Bible isn't seen that same way. But I quoted a verse that, it was a verse in a debate with somebody. It was a verse that had to do with slavery in the Old Testament, and just kind of raising that as kind of a point of a logical inconsistency with this Christian I was in a debate with. And that tweet got so much response from a lot of Jewish people who were saying that, like, don't use the Old Testament. You're supporting anti-Semitic ideas because Christianity has been used against Jews in anti-Semitic ways, which I agree with. But so I'm just trying to understand, like, is the Old Testament just off limits? Because I don't want to be disrespectful to people and their experiences and their pain, and I don't want to unintentionally support bad ideas or bad movements. So I was just really curious to hear what you guys had to say about that.
Yeah, well.
Oh, I got opinions.
Oh, Eric's got opinions. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to say that it's really good that you noticed that people were saying, hey, this could be misconstrued, this could be harmful, and you're taking that to heart and you're thinking about it. Honestly, that's the most that you can do as a result of something that has happened. And then, informing future actions is, we're going to see where that goes. I am not Jewish, and unless I don't know things about Eric, I don't believe you are either.
No, I almost converted.
You almost converted.
There's a whole story to that, yeah.
But so I do want to put that caveat as well. Just neither of us are of Jewish heritage, and therefore what we are going to say is going to be from a place of having listened to people, but not having experienced this ourselves. And so I would definitely encourage you, after talking with us, to go seek out some people who might have that experience and be willing to share that with you a little bit more and kind of walk you through maybe that perspective. Eric, what are your thoughts here?
Okay.
I think there's a difference between a culture and a religion. And I think that when you're talking about something being Islamophobic or, in this case, anti-Semitic, I feel like denigrating a people is bad. And if you're denigrating a people, then shame on you. But if you're denigrating a religious text for what's in that religious text, no, I disagree. I think that there's a very fine line between saying, that's why that I firmly believe that a person and their ideas are not the same thing. Because you can change your ideas, you can change your view on the world, and as you change, that means that if you attack an idea, that doesn't mean it's always going to be your idea. And some ideas are deserving of attack, right? I personally, I've done a lot of look into Old Testament scholarship. I've taken a lot of time and research, actually recently, on archaeology and on the kind of history of the Canaanite people and all of that. And from what I've seen, I disagree with a ton of stuff in the Old Testament. Me disagreeing with a ton of stuff in the Old Testament does not mean that I'm anti-Semitic. And I'm going flat out with that. That said, you are engaging with people. And when it comes to engaging with people, you need to find what your goals are, because if somebody is equating their ideas with their, who they are, then if you still want to get to them, you're going to need to use a different tactic. But I really think that if people conflate, criticism, valid criticism with bigotry, I feel like that shuts down important, necessary conversations. So I don't know.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. I think, that's something, it was a few episodes ago, I think you said that idea of, people are not their ideas, and attacking an idea is not attacking a person. And I've really, I've only been an atheist, like out an atheist or public in that sense, like for about a year or so. I grew up Christian, so definitely I'm trying to navigate this properly, and be respectful and not be one of those, cringe, stereotypical atheists. I emailed you, and your response to me was really great in that regard, and just like trying to do that well. But yeah, just like taking that to heart, attacking ideas, not attacking people, but we still have to listen to those people. And if they tell us or that they're feeling like attacked in this specific way, where they feel like it's bigotry, you just tell them, I understand your experience. I'm not trying to erase your experience, but this is the perspective that I'm coming at this with. Like, I understand the contention that the Old Testament has kind of been, I mean, stolen's not the right word, but it's been like taken over. But,
no, I think stolen would be an appropriate word to use there. I think the thing that I would point out here, Josh, is that I don't think that you have any, inherently bad motivation for using the Old Testament in a way to score a point in a debate. I think that is something that a lot of atheists do, especially atheists who are recently deconverted, recently kind of coming to grips with all of the bigness that is this process of reforming your view of the world. The thing that I would bring to this is, while you can absolutely critique individual claims, individual ideas, regardless of where they come from, the concern for a lot of people, to my understanding, is that the understanding to critique it is not there, because we would be looking at it from the perspective of the people who benefited from stealing it, right? So like, if we were to take, the book of Josh, right? And Josh, you wrote an amazing autobiography. Maybe there was some problematic stuff in there, but, that was, ages and ages ago. And we decided that we're going to reinterpret it to mean this other thing. That's just a thing that happens, right? Texts have that process happen. Right. So when we then go to your children's children or your grandchildren, let's say, and say, well, Josh said this thing, and it's a result of us honestly misunderstanding because of a completely different cultural shift, then they're gonna rightfully be like, hey, you can talk about this maybe, but like, at least know who Josh was and read the actual version first and get that history before you go in on it. So I think that the action item for you right now, if you want to continue these kinds of conversations, a great first step is actually getting really involved in learning more about the Hebrew Bible, the Torah, right? Like actually dive in and see, how do Jewish scholars and theologians interpret these verses? And is it different than the way I was taught? Because I guarantee you it's going to be, and that's going to be really cool. Like, that's the next big step, is diving into, it's not just that we were wrong because we were factually wrong as Christians in terms of like there being a God. We also took some stuff and misinterpreted it. So where did that come from? And just following that breadcrumb trail, I think, is going to be a huge step in understanding where other people are coming from.
And moving forward from there, if you do find valid criticisms, which there are plenty, and you voice those valid criticisms and someone calls you an anti-Semite, I think that person's probably an idiot. I'm really not interested in people trying to shut down conversation by accusing bigotry, because bigotry is a hell of a hell of an accusation, and I think it's important that we draw those lines. So I got to agree with V on that. That make sure you do have valid criticisms. If you're angry at a Jewish person, you say, well, it's because you killed Christ. Guess what? That is anti-Semitic.
Right.
That's
exactly what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah.
I've done Dr. Josh Bowen, his work. I've learned so much about the historicity of the Bible, and I try and maintain that kind of, I try and use that as a source of how am I interpreting these verses? And it's pretty clear that the Bible does support and condemn slavery. So I use that verse in that context. But I'm wary of I'm just I don't know. I'm a little gun shy now because I don't want to,
Twitter will make you gun shy.
Being accused as a bigot is a huge thing, and I don't, I know I'm a white dude in Southern California who has a ton of privilege, and I'm trying to fight against that. And I just, I don't know. People can weaponize labels, and that's not cool. But yeah, I
think there's an understanding there that I respect, Josh. I think you understand kind of your place in the broader picture, and I would encourage you to, if you do find that a specific thing that you are saying or expressing is being addressed by multiple people, there's something there. It might not be exactly what they're saying. It might not be exactly what you interpret it to mean, but those are really good moments to dive in like you're doing now and say, okay, how could this be interpreted? What kind of damage could this cause? And then do that cost benefit analysis and say, is the harm that this might do worth the benefits it might bring? And am I the best person to make that decision? So it's sticky. It really is. But I love that you're listening to people, and I love that you called in. I would encourage you to go talk to somebody who is a scholar of Jewish theology and maybe ask their very specific questions about, hey, how do you interpret this thing that I've always interpreted in this way? I guarantee you that'll be interesting.
Right.
Also, can I give you some suggested...
No, I'll take that to heart.
Yeah.
Can I give you some suggested reading?
I would love that, yeah.
Israel Finkelstein.
Israel Finkelstein?
Look up Israel Finkelstein. It's an amazing research, boots on the ground person who has done incredible work on Old Testament scholarship.
Nice.
And specifically archaeology and that kind of stuff. It's really damn good. Anyway.
Awesome. I'll check that out.
Thanks for calling in, Josh.
No, seriously, sorry, what?
Thanks for calling in.
Thank you. I love what you guys do. Thanks for taking my call and addressing it.
Okay.
Aw.
It's always weird when people call in about Twitter beef that I've seen. I'm pretty sure I know where this is coming from based on conversations I've observed online. So it's always weird. I don't weigh in on these things on purpose.
Well,
also, we call.
Yeah, without the context, I'm just being general about it. And if there's an accusation, you take a look at the validity of it for sure. But
I think we disagree on something so fundamental there, honestly. What? But we'll have to get into that later.
Are we?
I think we do.
Should this be like a full-on debate?
I think, it wouldn't be in the series of philosophical conversations. It's more of a social thing.
Oh, got it.
I frankly don't think that being told that you are acting in a bigoted way is a huge accusation. I think that's kind of a thing that people just do, and it should be just acknowledged as, oh yeah, that was sucky. Oh, move on now, and not this earth-shattering.
Well, no, I'm talking specifically about an effort to shut you up. If it's V saying this thing about Christianity, I think that's Christianophobic. V is a bigot, so V should stop talking. Or let's not pay attention to V because V is a bigot against Christians. I'm using a ridiculous example, but I think that needs to be looked at. Are you? And if you're not, then it's important to recognize that just because someone's throwing the accusation out there doesn't mean that it's the case. And some people, while you can validate their feelings, what they're feeling does not equate to, No, I've just seen way too many people get way too upset about things and use bad labels. So, but in your in your example, I agree.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
I don't know. Anyway.
Okay.